How's it going, Starseekers? My name's Gotcake and welcome back once again to this final deals video of August 2020, where I pick 5 games priced under £1 Euro from the Nintendo Switch eShop and provide you lot with a sort of short mini review and my opinions on whether I think these games are worth picking up. Now if I'm being honest, this week's been a little light on the more interesting titles, but I've selected 5 games that caught my eye, so let's get into the video and see what's on offer. So to kick things off, and something that might become a future feature, I'm going to start by highlighting a few games that you most certainly should not pick up. The first of these is going to be Bouncy Bob. Now this bag of shite is constantly priced under £1 and often drops to 10 cents in the US, and for good reason. While its concepts are interesting, gameplay is incredibly simple. You basically flap around a stage killing enemies to gain points. But the control scheme, which uses a single button, is just horrendous, and it makes gameplay near impossible once you hit the level with these stupid exploding bat things. Honestly, just stay away from this one. Our next slice of shovelware is Waterblue Mania, which I reviewed a while back. Now whilst this game may look similar to a certain Mario themed puzzle title, gameplay misses the mark by a long margin. It's incredibly slow, contains no settings to increase its challenge, and simply lacks any sort of charm or polish compared with Dr. Mario, which is included in the games available on the Nintendo Online NES emulator. Finally, we have this game with its long-winded title. OMG Police Car Chase TV Simulator is supposed to be a game where you evade police and earn coins to unlock bigger and better cars, but you start off with this shitty Winnebago which crawls its way through the map at about 3 miles per hour, resulting in you being destroyed by police within about 30 seconds. It's a festering arsehole of a game which is best avoided, and you can find my full review of it in the description box below. So now with them games out the way, let's get on to this week's selection of deals. First up, we have a title newly released this week. Hardcore Maze Cube is a top-down puzzle survival game where you play as a black cube and have to make your way through a series of trap-filled mazes which become progressively more difficult. Now the game has a number of different modes, the first of which is Adventure. Here we start in maze number 1 and have to work our way through it, trying to locate the exit portal whilst collecting these white diamonds called cubics. Collecting enough of these will earn you an extra life, which you're gonna need if you're hoping to get far in the game, as there's traps at every turn. Traps are activated by passing over invisible triggers in the maze, and some traps are pretty obvious like these wall mounted turrets, but others aren't so apparent and you have to look carefully for visual clues in the maze. Now this is easier said than done, as the developers decided that black would be the primary colour scheme for everything in the game, and there ends up being a lot of trial and error to complete mazes as you try and memorise the traps and layouts. Now you do have a guard ability which you can use to block against turrets, however this appears to run out at random, so you can never be sure that it's gonna work. Collecting cubics also allows you to build a meter at the bottom of the screen, which provides you with a boost when activated, which has limited use. Now after you find your way to the end of the level and complete it, you then have to answer to this big shiny cube who wants you to solve a riddle or puzzle before he lets you move on to the next level. Riddles are generally pretty easy and you can pick up scroll fragments which provide you with parts of the answer or the full answer if you collect them all. But the sequence puzzles aren't so apparent and I don't really know how you're supposed to figure them out. If you fail at a riddle or puzzle, then you explode and have to start the level again. Once you get several mazes in, challenges increase by limiting your vision, and you have to control this light with your right thumbstick to see where you're going. Now the game also has Hardcore mode, which is only unlocked after completing Adventure mode, and Time for Life mode, which is the same as Adventure but you have a timer which counts down. Each mode in the game appears to feature the exact same maze layout, so I can't see there being much challenge once you've completed the game once. You can also play Relaxing mode, which allows you to travel through each maze without the fear of traps, which allows you to learn the layouts, though the exit to the next maze in this mode are all in different locations compared to the standard game. Hardcore Maze Cube also has an online leaderboard for each mode, providing some reason to replay the game. So in all, it's not a bad title, it just feels a little unpolished and its low resolution visuals look like something you'd find in a mobile phone game. But if you're looking for a simple but challenging action puzzle game, then I reckon this one's worth a quid. The sale on Hardcore Maze Cube ends on the 14th of September in all regions. Next up, we've got a cute little puzzle game called Minesweeper Genius. Now, I was a big fan of OG Minesweeper on the early Windows operating systems, and Minesweeper Genius brings some of that classic gameplay and enhances it with a number of different mechanics. In each level, the goal is simple. You have to reach the exit tile whilst avoiding the tiles with mines under them, and light bulbs around the edges of the play area indicate how many mines are located on each corresponding row. As with classic Minesweeper, you sometimes get indicators within the play area, and you can also flag tiles, which becomes very important later in the game. As we advance through the levels, new mechanics are introduced, each of which is represented by coloured arrows on tiles. There are yellow jump arrows, which allow us to jump over a single tile in the direction of the arrow, green arrows which shift the entire tile row forward one space, purple arrows which swap the position of 2 rows, and black arrows which shift all tiles by 1 space. And these different mechanics all work well together to present a decent challenge, and if you fail a stage, the layout of it changes, meaning you have to actually solve it logically and can't just rely on death exploiting. Now, each level offers a maximum of 3 stars for completing it without dying, and the game features 13 different stages, each containing 10 levels. You can also unlock a set of advanced levels for attaining 3 stars on every level in a stage. Finally, the game also allows you to create custom levels by using sliders to set various values. The game will then generate you a level based off these values. So, do I think that Minesweeper Genius is worth a quid? I'm gonna say definitely yes. It's a great little puzzler, and fans of the original Minesweeper should have a ball playing this evolved version of it. The eShop sale on Minesweeper Genius ends on the 7th of September in the UK and EU, and the 8th of September in the US. Our third entry in this week's deals is one I've seen a few times but never played. The Way Remastered is an action platformer game where you take control of Major Tom, a member of a space exploration team whose mission was to land on a foreign planet and explore its surface. Sometime after returning to Earth, Major Tom's wife has popped her clogs, but he believes that there may be a way to resurrect her if he takes her body back to the planet and locates the hidden Temple of Life. So the story is rather cliche from the get-go, and the game opens with Tom digging up his beloved's corpse and hauling her home before popping her into a stasis pod. Tom then has to steal a spaceship to get to the planet, and so ensues the introductory level into the game. Here we find ourselves performing various tasks to prep the ship for the journey, but there are a bunch of security measures in place blocking our way. Now, I found this whole ordeal to be a little drawn out, as there's constant trekking back and forth after performing each and every task. Eventually though, you do get yourself a gun which can be used to blast the security bots, and we manage to prep the ship, bung our wife in the back of it and travel to the planet, where we get to do a little exploring and blow away some of the local wildlife before finding the temple. Once we get in here, we experience more back and forth gameplay, which coupled with the game's iffy platforming and movement mechanics did test my patience a little, especially with these damn lasers. Now, the game does feature plenty of puzzles to solve along the way, some of which are relatively trivial, but the majority of the gameplay appears to revolve more around platforming and shooting stuff. When it comes to visuals and audio, the voice acting in the game wasn't great, with our character repeating the same sentences each time we kill something.
Nature, what's wrong with you?
But I did actually like the detailed pixel art visuals in the game. So is The Way Remastered worth a quid though? For me, I'm still undecided. I can't say that the opening hours of gameplay really gripped me or made me want to play more of it, but there may just be enough here to justify a purchase if you like these type of games. The eShop sale on The Way Remastered ends on the 20th of September in the UK and EU, and the 11th of September in the US. Our fourth game is a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up called Overdriven Reloaded. The game features classic shmup gameplay as you blast your way through hordes of enemies before facing off against a boss at the end of each level. The game features a bunch of different modes to choose from, the first of which is Story Mode, which sees us working our way through each level in turn, and after beating a Story Mode level we can then replay it on a different difficulty. Gameplay features some classic bullet hell style mechanics, though the Story Mode in Overdriven Reloaded is much easier when compared to standard bullet hell games. Instead of one hit deaths, we have a health bar allowing us to take a few hits, and we can obtain health pickups from defeated enemies. We can grab gold stars along the way to bump up our score, and silver stars boost our weapons, increasing the quantity and size of projectiles that we fire. Now, we are also able to change the colour of our shots and shield, which I thought would make us immune to enemy projectiles of the same colour, but this doesn't seem to be the case, and it only appears to be used on odd occasions where we need to shoot these blocks to change the colour and destroy them. The game's next mode is Arcade, which features the same set of levels, but you only get one single shot at completing them all, and limited continues before it's game over. And finally we have Manic mode, which is a true bullet hell experience featuring one-hit deaths. It's worth noting that all of these modes can be played with up to 4 players, which I thought was a great inclusion and not one that you see often in shmups. Now in terms of additional content, there are a number of different mini-games you can play, including a challenge mode where you have to complete specific tasks, a game mode called The Line where you have to prevent enemies from touching a line at the bottom of the screen, and Colour Reflex where you race through tunnels and have to change the colour of blocks to destroy them and reach the finish line. So when all's said and done, is Overdriven Reloaded worth your quid? Well, I'm gonna say yes. I thought it was an enjoyable but simple shmup, and its gameplay was pretty standard, but there's plenty of content for your money, and the 4-player mode is a rarity in most modern shmups. Now I really wanted to take this opportunity to highlight this game to you guys, but you're gonna have to be quick to grab this deal, as it ends tomorrow, the 28th of August in all regions, but hopefully will be back on sale soon. So our 5th and final game is a strange point and click adventure called Earthworms. The game sees you playing the role of Private Detective Daniel White, who takes on a missing persons case from an odd fella dressed in a ghillie suit who pretends to be a tree. However, things slowly descend into chaos as Detective White finds himself on an island filled with odd inhabitants, and he discovers some creepy humanoid creatures covered in tentacles and giant earthworms which appear to be taking over the island. Gameplay in Earthworms follows the pretty standard point and click adventure formula of travelling between screens, solving puzzles and finding and combining items. You also get to talk to various people on the island to try and work out what the worms are and the whereabouts of the missing woman, and our character frequently has psychic visions hinting at incidents that have occurred on the island. Now the game really doesn't hold your hand or make it obvious where to go, and for the most part this isn't an issue. However, occasionally I found obscure solutions to problems, such as having to click this poster multiple times to reveal a safe, or combining items within your inventory, none of which have descriptions, which is a bit of a problem in itself. Now I found the game's story to be pretty decent throughout, and it does a pretty good job of keeping you intrigued and playing on. I also like the game's visuals, which are all hand drawn and give it a pretty unique style. Earthworms was actually redesigned for the Switch, allowing you to play using both the touchscreen and a single Joy-Con controller. So is Earthworms worth a quid? It's gonna be a yes from me. And although the puzzles aren't the most taxing, I had fun playing and there's a few hours worth of gameplay for your money. The game is also currently on sale for only 1 cent in the US, so you guys have no reason not to buy it. Earthworms sale ends on the 14th of September in all regions. So that's it for another week, Starseekers. I hope you found something in this deals video worth dropping a quid on. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts and opinions on the games featured in this deals video in the comment section below, and remember to hit that like button and subscribe for future Switch content. As always, I thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, game on.